Hey. Hi everyone, Coffany Hack Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd here, and it's time for a review of the new John Wayne album, Album Number 2. John Wayne is a rapper-producer who hails from California. He's got a husky voice and a husky size, and he has prolifically been releasing one project after another since 2010. Even before that, he was involved in a couple of different outfits. He started turning heads back in 2011 with the Bowser instrumental album that was released on Alpha Pup Records, and then he expanded his fan base with his mic skills on his Stones Throw Records album, Rap Album 1, where in very self-aware fashion he used a cracker as the album cover. Now, I heard this record, but it didn't really stop me in my tracks, honestly. While John Wayne was clearly a student of the underground, he kept tabs on his Dooms and his Dillas. There wasn't really anything on the album that struck me as being particularly bold or show-stopping, but I still saw some merit in what he was doing on this album. Maybe listeners found a kindred spirit in John Wayne due to the introspective tone of his lyrics or his loner status. And that's still kind of the case on this new album over here. In a way, I feel like John Wayne's music is hip-hop's answer to one of those weird basement shows that your friend invites you to. You do a $2 donation at the door just to watch some guy sit Indian style and make improvised drone music for 90 minutes on like 13 chained guitar pedals. Because there are multiple spots on this record where John Wayne isn't really communicating anything other than his difficulty to communicate things. Like on the song The Single, which is basically a 1-minute track consisting of a series of failed attempts to record what could have been maybe the hottest song on the entire album. Or the song Live from the Fuck You, where essentially the track is a skit where John Wayne is put in an awkward position, kind of put on the spot to rap in front of some guy because I guess his girlfriend is a really huge fan. And then the verse that comes out of John Wayne is sort of all about, leaving him alone or, I guess his social awkwardness or his inability to sort of handle himself in these sorts of situations. The song Rainbow doesn't really seem to consist of anything more than a short verse from Danny Watts in the first half, and then immediately after that, the instrumental turns into this cycling, noisy, glitchy, textured, somewhat ambient instrumental piece. There are lyrical moments on the album where John Wayne gives off very much the same tone, like when he says, "You'll throw tomato in the face of bravado, not my fault the Model T is parked in a pothole," or this set of bars over here where John Wayne boasts about how popular the song would be if only he'd actually put a hook into the track. And these are just a few examples of John Wayne sort of boasting on a track about his refusal to play the game in such a way that would net him a major profit or a major fan base. He seems kind of content to play to alt-rap's most misanthropic listeners. At one point he refers to his audience on the album as an artist audience. John Wayne sort of embracing this path, embracing this approach to his music, I think leads to him shooting some of his own tracks in the foot. But there are some fully fleshed out and developed songs on this record where he dives into the feelings that sort of fuel this mindset and speak to these emotions in a way that I think no other rapper is right now. The song Human Condition is a really witty and smart track about shortcomings, his own shortcomings, the flaws that come along with being a human being. And the song Out of Sight is a very personal, autobiographical track where John Wayne is rapping about having his head in the clouds, burning social bridges to kind of prioritize his health, his struggles with alcoholism, and at one point he kind of points out the funny irony, or at least what he sees as irony, of working on his ability to live, get his shit together, work on this album so that he could sustain his life, just so that he can kind of turn right back around and rap about life. And of course, all of this is set to a very sad, spacey, beautiful instrumental that John Wayne's gentle, giant voice just demands attention over. Tracks like Paper and City Lights are equally impressive from a lyrical standpoint and have a very classy jazz rap vibe. And the track These Words Are Everything is an awesome finish to the album. It's a really life-affirming track. It sees Wayne at his most confident on the entire record. He lays a lot of historical groundwork for what brought him to this point in life, and it is a much needed pick-me-up after the song Blue Green, which is a soul-crushing look into John Wayne hitting rock bottom with alcoholism, like throw up on his sheets, could have choked to death on his own vomit, his own tour canceled, and then the track Afraid of Us, the longest track on the entire album, reads a lot like one of those letters that you have to write in AA, or really any kind of addiction program where you're apologizing to all the people who are close to you for how your addiction might have hurt them. But it sort of ends up with a feel-good vibe because it sort of embraces and emphasizes the importance of friends and a support system when you're trying to make it through life's struggles. And of course, this track and many others on here are executed with some very simple but very quality production that seems homespun, has some beautiful, interesting little quirks and flaws to it. You know, these are the highlights of the record. These are the great things about the record when John Wayne can actually focus enough to get something like this out. This is a very perplexing album for me. In one breath, this album is disheveled, it's disorganized, it's disjointed, it's disoriented, it's deeply flawed, it's the definition of not having your shit together. But in another breath, there are some great tracks on here, and there are some seriously bright moments of talent on this thing. Like Jaw-Dropping, the song TED Talk, for example, that kicks the entire album off. You will not hear a more cold-blooded song opening up a rap album this year. I promise you that. And it's not just because of the dreary piano loops and the fat beat. It's John Wayne's stone fucking cold delivery on this track, his smooth but measured flow, and the bars on this thing. There's one line on here about being in the china shop spitting that bullshit. Another line about never forgetting like elephants on 4chan. That one goes deep. Van Gogh, pretend I don't know him. Even in the casket, I'll be the one to close it. My parents built me, I'm straight IKEA is probably the corniest line on the whole song, but it's still hilarious. Almost every bar on this track is quotable. Like, who gets away with being this fucking smart, witty, and just lyrically entertaining on a rap song? So there's this side of the album, and then there are the tracks that deliver some really potent and raw emotions. John exposes some really personal, deep problems on this record, and he conveys them in such a way that I think is really compelling, garnering a boatload of sympathy, at least for me. And the connections between the shortcomings of the album and John Wayne's shortcomings as a person are, I think, maybe a little intentional, pretty obvious. I do like this album, and I like what John Wayne is doing on here. I think he's improved upon what he delivered on his previous record, but I still think he has a little ways to go. The talent is clearly there, the ability is clearly there, but what's also clear is that John Wayne is working through and struggling with some demons. At least during the recording of this album, possibly. I'm not entirely sure, but whatever the issue is, it's clear that it's driving him to kind of hide his full potential in a way. And I would just love to hear him be able to hit that zenith, hit that peak, because what's delivered here I guess, all over the place as this album can be, it's really good and it's impressive. I'm feeling a light 7 on this album. Transition. Have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best. You're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe. And please don't cry. Just, leave an angry comment if you're pissed off. John Wayne album, Rap Album 2. And links next to my head. Subscribe to the channel, official website. You're the best.